The abbreviation GIS stands for Geographical Information Systems. GIS is a computer-based tool that links data to a digital map. A GIS, like any other computer-based system, is able to capture, manipulate, manage, analyze, model, store, and display data. The GIS is able to produce information that can be used for decision making and to solve problems. Like many other systems, the GIS is made up of different parts, and we call those parts the components of a GIS. There are 5 components to a GIS, and they are hardware, software, data, people, and methods. Methods can sometimes also be called procedures. So the 5 components of a GIS are hardware, software, data, methods, and people. One of the strengths of a GIS is that it is able to produce a digital map. In order to produce this map, the GIS requires data. That data is stored within the GIS in what we call data layers or data themes. You can think of the data layers and data themes as folders of information. Each folder or every layer or theme stores a specific type of information. For example, there could be a layer on road and transport infrastructure. A different layer could be information or data on schools, for example. This GIS is able to combine these layers in order to show the relationship between geographical features and information. If you, for example, required the GIS to only produce a digital map that contained roads in an area and schools, that GIS is able to extract the data from the road layer and the school layer, and it is able to combine those 2 layers to produce a map that only shows roads and schools. You would, for example, use such a digital map to work out the easiest route to travel from your home to your school, especially considering the fact that often the roads are congested. So a good use of the GIS would be to solve certain problems as explained concerning the map with roads and schools. GIS was developed for the specific purpose of processing geographical data to produce information, and such information can then importantly be used for decision making but also to problem solve. GIS is commonly used within business, within government, healthcare services, service providers, and very often to manage disaster. Be on the lookout for questions in the examination where you will be required to state how a GIS can possibly be used in order to solve certain real life situations or real life problems. Here are some examples on data sources: topographic maps, satellite images, aerial photos, field work, administrative records. It is important to know the distinction between what is called primary data and secondary data. Primary data, for example, would be data that you have personally gone out and collected. For example, when field work is done and you have personally collected the data or personally observed certain phenomena, that would be classified as primary data. However, when you consult data sources that have been collected by other people, this would constitute secondary data. The topographic maps, a satellite image, administrative records, for example, could be or are examples of secondary data. In terms of photographs, if you have personally taken the photograph, that would constitute primary data. But when you consult a photograph that has been taken by someone else, that would be an example of secondary data. Finally, the GIS is interested in two broad categories of data, what we call spatial data and attribute data. Spatial data is information about where something is located, whereas attribute data is a description of the characteristics of a feature. I will explain the difference between spatial data and attribute data to a greater extent in a different video.